and thank you all for coming to this historic announcement. I'm Doug Tisdale, and I am honored to serve as the Denver Downtown Development Authority Board Chair. I was appointed by RTD Chair Julian Bouquet to represent RTD on the DDA board, and I have with me here today 3 other members of the board. You will hear later from Council President Amanda Sandoval, who's on the board, but we also have with us the board secretary, Frank Cannon, and a board member, Jay Lambiotti. There's only one other current member of the board who is not able to be with us in person, but as of next month, we have 2 new board members joining us, so you'll be reading all about that too. My fellow board members and I oversee the DDA. That's a tool that Denver has to capture some of the tax revenue from downtown growth and then reinvest that incremental tax revenue into projects that support and improve the area, which is why we're here today, to announce our next exciting investment, the purchase of the Denver Pavilions. The DDA will put a master plan together and bring in an international retail specialist to partner with us in restoring and enriching the Denver Pavilions as a retail, entertainment, and engagement venue that will support and enhance the new housing that we are creating in downtown Denver. Just as the revitalization of Union Station brought new life to lower downtown, a reimagined pavilions will rejuvenate the landscape of upper downtown, rendering it a vibrant upper downtown. Now, this is the 3rd big announcement of the DDA that we have shared with you. In April, we announced the exciting and much needed safety and security improvements here on 16th Street. In July, we announced 10 exciting projects supported by a DDA investment of over $110 million. Today in September, we announce the renaissance of the pavilions. These announcements demonstrate that the Denver Downtown Development Authority exists to act, to be bold, to create, to do, and not simply to abide. Investing in the pavilions is an incredible opportunity to not only support 16th Street, but the entire core of our city. And we fully hope to see results sooner rather than later. As I've told you before, stay tuned. I'd now like to introduce Denver City Council President and a highly valued member of the DDA board, the totally awesome Amanda P. Sandoval.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us downtown for this such a special announcement. I'm incredibly excited to be here with you all today. And this is not just about today, this is about a new era. This is about a commercial, it's not just about a commercial transaction, it's about the shifting our focus to making the very heart of our city feel like a vibrant neighborhood that's welcoming, a place of opportunity that all residents of Denver can be proud of. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now? All right. We're going to start that little bit over. Let me get my notes up. Our path forward is clear and fiscally responsible. By leveraging the expertise and structure of the DDDA, we can create a thoughtful, robust redevelopment plan for this property right behind me, the pavilion, that perfectly matches our vision for downtown, all without dipping into the city's general fund or burdening our taxpayers. We invite the community in every step of this process to help us build the way to ensure that this pavilion reflects the best of Denver. This is a pivotal moment for downtown Denver. It represents economic revitalization, community pride, and a bold step towards the future. It takes unified leadership to make a commitment like this. So please join me in welcoming a true partner to this vision, our own Denver Mayor, Mike Johnston.
Thank you all so much for being here. This is an incredibly exciting day. We are so thrilled that the Downtown Denver Development Authority has decided to invest in a Denver icon. Many of us have memories of the Denver pavilions, whether it was your high school prom dinner, whether it was a first date at the movies, whether it was a great family dinner, whether it was the first time you went to one of the great restaurants here or shopping at Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. This has been an incredibly important part of Denver for many, many years. Our dream is that it remains a critical icon in the city for another 40 years, that it's a place where another generation of Denverites come to their favorite retail shopping or their favorite restaurant or for a favorite date night. And today is a critical opportunity for that long-term investment. A couple of things I'll just add that are top priorities for us. What is so unique about this opportunity is the DDA has, for the first time, unified both parts of this site. Both with the acquisition of Denver Pavilions, but also with the parking lots behind these that were purchased in a previous cycle. That now unifies these 4 blocks for the opportunity for a collaborative redevelopment that could include a hotel project, could include condos, could include adaptive reuse of this site, could include revitalization, but it creates for us what we want, which is an anchor destination in Upper Downtown. When you come to downtown now, we have a couple of wonderful anchors that folks come to, whether that is Union Station, whether that's Larimer Square, whether that is the Milk Market. Upper Downtown needs a similar anchor that will attract and keep visitors and also residents. And that takes me to our second priority, which is we are really focused here on how we can convert more and more commercial space downtown into residential apartments. That means we hope to have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 more units of housing in downtown. Those are folks who are going to want a local restaurant to come to. They might want quick grocery store access. They might want a movie to catch on a Friday night. This is an attraction for residents to want to move downtown. It's also an attraction for more and more businesses to want to return to downtown or stay downtown. We think that is critically important. Finally, what we know is Denver is about making great places. It's places where you want to come. You want to get lost, you want to sit with friends and family for a full afternoon or an evening on a Saturday or a Tuesday or Thursday. The Pavilions offers that unique opportunity. And so what we'll do now is we'll start a process after this goes through closing, where we will open up for proposals and bids from partners who have a vision for what Denver could dream in this space. We'll look at all of those options, and the board will make a decision about what they think is the best investment and the best future for this site. But what we know now is we will make sure this site is vibrant, it is activated, and it is a critical part of Denver's future. And so thank you all so much for being here. Thank you really to the DDA board who took this courageous step and now put us in a position to ensure that decades of downtown are activated by this block. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm giving it back to you, boss.
Okay, thank you. All right, and we're ready to take a few questions, but first I do want to introduce, as part of our team up here, another person who has been critically involved and done a tremendous amount to bring this across the finish line through the DDA board process, and that's Mr. Bill Mosier in the mayor's office. So give it up for Bill. And we're prepared to answer a few questions, and either the mayor or council president Sandoval or Bill might be able to respond to them probably even better than I ever could. So please feel free if you have a question. Yes, sir. Can you? Okay, yeah.
Thank you for cueing me to talk about that. The question was in the context of the budget deficit. Most important thing to know about today's announcement. This is an investment made by the Downtown Denver Development Authority. It's not made by the City of Denver. It's not made by our general fund. It's not made by capital funds. So no part of these dollars could be used to support a city employee, to be able to pay for a city program. They are restricted only to capital investments in the downtown corridor as approved by voters last year. And these dollars come out of the mutual commitment of the businesses who support the tax base here to drive this kind of reinvestment. It's the same thing we saw with the investments in and around Union Station. The DDA now allows us to make those investments through all of downtown. So these investments will have no impact on the general fund, on the budget, or on the city's capital budget that is up for consideration in the bond. These are completely separate investments. Yes?
What do you think went wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, well, keep in mind the Pavilions has had 5 years of COVID construction and closures, right? And so what we know is this has been a very hard time for retail in downtown for all of our partners. Now what we see is the opportunity for us to emerge from that era of COVID and construction and closures, where we now see this Saturday with DDP, we'll celebrate the final reopening of all of 16th Street. We see more and more residential foot traffic back. We see more and more leasing interest from both commercial tenants as well as retail. And so we think there's a moment where there's real opportunity to both revive and reconfigure what pavilions are. But pavilions certainly took a hard part of the brunt of those 5 years of construction and COVID. To that point, talk about how yeah, and I'm happy to let Doug or others jump in, President Sandoval, but I think one of our key priorities is to make sure we're protecting businesses that are here to stay here. That's both retail and commercial. We're working hard to fully activate all of the vacant retail spots that are still open here. We have some exciting new announcements that the DDA approved that will be opening in the months to come on 16th Street. And that includes as well looking to activate more of these spaces with commercial to residential conversions. So you both see more commercial properties that are going to be filled, more retail properties for filling, and more commercial residential conversion, which put more feet on the ground in downtown. Anything you want to add, Doug or Amanda?
Yeah, and just to remember that this is all a huge effort of communication, collaboration, cooperation, and we work very closely with all of the business community. And that's why, for example, the Denver Downtown Partnership is a huge part of what makes this all successful. It's by reaching out and first communicating with all of these business owners, finding out what their needs are, and then collaborating over what are the possible solutions and ultimately cooperating on implementing one of those. Too much, but I'm a lawyer, forgive me.
Can you name names? The mayor mentioned you had arrangements upcoming.
Oh, can we name names? No, unfortunately we can't. How do you like that? Isn't that distressing? I feel awful about that. I wish I didn't have to say that. But unfortunately, I'm compelled to say that. So we can't name names right now. As we have applications that are coming in, people do want to keep things somewhat under wraps so that we can have a better opportunity to develop them. But we can say that we did get a phenomenal deal with the owner here on the Denver Pavilions, and so we thank them. And let me ask Council President Sandoval to weigh in on this topic as well.
So the Downtown Development Authority has done a few approvals. I think that's what you were mentioning. We have green spaces, which is just down the way. The City Council last night we have to petition for them to be included within the Downtown Development Authority. So those passed last night. So we have green spaces. We have a couple more in the lower downtown, and then we have the Brookfield lots right behind us. So this is our second big approval outside of the safety. So those ones can be named, and those ones are in the public docket for the Downtown Development Authority online.
More broad scale, can you quantify what you're looking for versus what you're not looking for to occupy this space?
Yeah, I think that's yet to be determined. Right now, we have some really good anchor tenants. Maggiano's is great. They stayed open. We've all come down here to come see movies. I know I've taken my kids to come see a movie down here. So we have Regal, we have Lucky Strikes that is doing really well, and right next to us, to our left, we have H&M. So we also have some other small ones, but we will be procuring those in the future. So I have to just make sure that we distinguish ourselves. This is not the city. I serve on this board as the city council president, as a representative. So it's not the city, it's the Downtown Development Authority, and a development authority is under state statute. So that's what gives us our authority. And it's all of these board members. And this was reapproved in November of last year. And so it's not the city and county of Denver, it's the Downtown Development Authority. So we just need to make sure to distinguish those. Now, is the city a great partner? 100%. We could not do this without the city. So we have to partner, and there's gonna be lots of other partners that we have to do this work all together to make sure that we revitalize the pavilion and downtown holistically.
For the mayor?
We don't own the mall. We would just we'll be purchasing the pavilion. It has to go through the city council process, and that will be open to determination. That's open for the future, so we're not quite certain, but this is just the first step of revitalizing the pavilions. Yeah, I could pass that.
So a couple things. Yes, I think in addition to the DDA's courage to step in and acquire this, I think they also got a great deal for Denverites. This was valued around 10 years ago at $140 million. This property, the purchase price today is $37 million, which is about 25 cents on the dollar. And so that is an opportunity for, I think, real value capture here for us to drive long-term development. To talk about the plan, the immediate next step will be after closure, will be a process to go out to partners who want to propose potential development plans for this site. And to keep in mind, those development plans could now include the pavilions, and they can include the parking lots behind them, which are the Brookfield properties that the DDA board brought previously. So what has never happened before, many developers for decades have been trying to unify these two properties because part of the challenge was you couldn't build a joint plan that included both sites. Now the DDA owns both sites, they can partner with folks to identify a vision for that collective piece of land that opens a whole new set of options for hotels, apartments, additional retail. And so we'll then review those options, and the board will decide which of those are the right ones and what they want to do in terms of joint venture, sale, partnership, development. That's all up to the board as they see options that the public will be able to see as well.
Happening if you didn't do this? Like, what are you seeking to avoid by stepping in?
I'm really glad that you asked that. Because one of the priorities for us was what we don't want to do is to see this anchor of Upper Downtown fall into disrepair. We don't want to see more vacancies, more closures, less activation. We don't want it to be a drag on the commercial properties around Upper Downtown. We don't want to see it be a hindrance to new residential development downtown. We need this site to be a magnet for Upper Downtown, and we worried without this kind of investment and redevelopment, you could get the opposite, and that doesn't just affect this block, that affects all of Upper Downtown.
What's the vacancy rate?
How much money will be left for the authority between the parking lots, this and the
Do you want to? I'm going to give it over to Bill, who knows all the math.
Depends on where you want to start, but we approved just over $100 million a bit ago, and this is another up to $45 million. So we're at about 150. So we still have another 150 to $250 million to invest in Upper Downtown.
Will some of the funds be used to redevelop?
No, hopefully not, but we'll see. A couple of quick comments. One, the mayor said closure. What he meant was closing on the closing of the deal. We're not, I didn't want any misinterpretation. There's no closure of pavilions. It's a closing of the transaction, which should be by the end of the year. So that would be one answer to that. The other thing, while I've got the mic, and I'm Bill Mosier with the mayor's office, is kudos to the current ownership and kudos to the current tenants who have put up with what the mayor said about COVID and construction, and they've hung in there, and they've worked closely with us to make this transaction happen, and they really brought it to us as saying, we need to sell this property. Is the community interested? And our response as the DDA is, do we wait for some third party to come in from somewhere else, or do we dive in and as the community determine our own future for these two properties? And that's really what the DDA is committed to. Vacancy rate's about 40%.
Thank you, Bill, for the catch on that. Just one other point to go to the benefit of the DDA and Denver as partners in this redevelopment is what it allows us to do is be really specific about the kind of user experience we want at this site. If you are an out-of-state investor from Singapore and you own this property, you don't care if there are 7-Elevens on the ground floor or if there are locally owned and run businesses that are some of people's favorite parts of the city they want to find downtown. We've described our vision for downtown as being a place where you can find the best of Denver only in Denver. This allows us the chance to do what the DDA has done with the McClintock building and others through green spaces. It's find local entrepreneurs who bring that spirit, that energy, that cool factor, I think, as the media has said, to bring it back to 16th. And so we think this also allows us to be in control of our own destiny around what the resident experience is when you come to 16th and when you come to the pavilions. So I will give it back to Doug. I do want to say some thank yous. Huge thank you to our partners from Downtown Denver Partnership who are aligned on all things in downtown. Huge thanks to Richard Scharf, our partners from Visit Denver. This is also a critical corridor for all the folks that come to and from the convention center onto 16th. So this is often your first experience here, so it drives a lot of convention business. Thanks to Richard, our convention center is one of the most sought after convention destinations in the country right now. That's a huge win for us if they have a great place to come. And of course, a huge thank to Bill, who has been our incredible leader on getting this across the finish line. And I do just want to say, as Bill said, the partners that have owned and worked on this site could have gone a lot of different directions. They also cared about the future of the city, and this being a development that matched our values and matched the city's interests. And so they are part of the reason we're here, I think, with a plan that is so exciting. And then most of all, to the team who has led this, run this, decided this, and delivered this, I want to really thank the DDA board for your leadership and courage. I will give it back to the boss, Chairman Tisdale.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our press conference. We thank you all very much. Please, if you have other questions, feel free to approach us separately. We'll be happy to respond. We want to get the information out, and we look to you to share this great story of what we have accomplished today with the DDA taking that first step so that we will purchase Denver Pavilions. Thank you all very much.